Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to our latest episode of Musical Musings. We air this program every Wednesday at 1 p.m., and we broadcast it from Rajamachan University of Technology, Peranakan. I will be bringing this program to you in two parts. For the first part, I will introduce a song and a performer to you. We will discuss a little bit about the performer, and then we will talk about the main themes of the song. In other words, what it's all about. Then we'll go ahead and listen to the song, and when we come back from that, we will get to our second part of the program, where we will go over the lyrics, and we will focus on anything that may be difficult to understand. Any difficult idioms, slang, difficult vocabulary, anything like that. So we'll do that in the second part of our program. Then we'll have the news and the latest updates from the university, as always.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical.
Welcome, everyone.
Musings.
My name is Gary Gray, and I am your host for the Musical Musings program. I'm an American English teacher here at Rajamachan University of Technology, Peranakan. I have been teaching here for over 7 years, and I sometimes incorporate music into my teaching, and so it is just natural that I would be here hosting a musical program. Okay, so for today's program, we are going to be doing the song Born to be Wild by Steppenwolf. That's Steppenwolf, Steppenwolf. It's a very interesting word, Steppenwolf. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Steppenwolf. Let's start with them before we get to the song. All right, so they are a Canadian-American band formed in LA in 1967. Now, what does it mean, Canadian-American? It started out with 3 Canadian members. They were members of a band called the Sparrows, and that band kind of broke up, and so they were looking to do something new, form a new band. So they happened to be in LA performing, and that's where they found 2 new members. So the 2 new members, since they were in LA, naturally, they were Americans. So we had 3 Canadians and 2 Americans, and so it is a Canadian-American band. And they are a pretty interesting band because of how long they've been around. We see with a lot of these bands, they may break up and reform, bring in some new members, things like that. Steppenwolf kind of did the same thing as well. They broke up twice and then reformed, and they did change some of their members, yes. But their breakups were very brief, and one of their main members, John Kay, stayed with them the whole time. So you certainly cannot say that they stayed constant the whole time. And in fact, if I recall correctly, I don't have this in my notes, but if I recall this correctly, the band member who wrote Born to be Wild, I may have to correct myself on this. It might have been the band member's brother that wrote Born to be Wild. But I believe that band member, I'm pretty sure it was the band member's brother that wrote it. But that band member did end up leaving Steppenwolf on one of their breakups. So some of the important members did leave, admittedly, including the person most associated with this song that we're doing today, Born to be Wild. Again, I don't believe the band member wrote it. I think it was his brother, but one of the band members' brothers wrote the song for Steppenwolf. Actually, they wrote it and they tried to sell it to some other people. But they ended up Steppenwolf ended up taking it. But one of their primary members, John Kay, has stayed with the band the whole time. So this has been one of our more consistent bands, certainly not entirely. But we have had a couple of bands where, there's almost no one left. In fact, there was one band that we talked about several weeks ago called The Guess Who have none of the original members. So is that really even the same band? If you don't have any of the same members? Isn't that really just what we call a cover band? A cover band is a band that performs other bands' music. So wouldn't that just be a cover band or a tribute band, which is where they do covers but only from one other band? Like there are Queen tribute bands, there are ABBA tribute bands. So if all the original band members leave, I really hate it when they keep the same name. I understand that. I understand how that would work, because not everyone's leaving at the same time. So, you have someone that leaves after 5 years, and the new person that comes in, that person might still be there the whole rest of the time. And so as other of the band members leave and then other new ones come in, you still get that guy who was there with the rest of the original band members, except for the one that he replaced. So you're always swapping parts in and out. So I understand it, but it just seems a little bit weird to use a band name when it has none of the original members in it, like the Guess Who. In fact, that's why the Guess Who is actually being sued for that by some of the original band members. So John Kay has stayed with the band the whole time. So they have been fairly consistent. Again, they have swapped out some of their members. But they've also been consistent in terms of their performance over time. And what I mean by that is, even though they did break up a couple of times, most bands do this if they've been around that long. They formed in 1967. That's 57 years ago. That's a long time ago. They've been around a long time. They did finally break up for good in 2018. I thought I had heard that maybe one of their band members died, but I did not see that in my research. That's something I should know, since I'm trying to teach you about the band, as well as the song. I'm not sure about that, though. I hope not. I hope nobody died. But they have been around for 57 years. That is possible. But they finally did break up for good I say they've been around for 57 years. They broke up about 6 years ago, so they were around for 51 years. So after their breakup in 2018, they have not gotten back together. But their two previous breakups before then were very short. They broke up for between 1 and 2 years. So over that 51-year period, again, not 57 because they broke up 6 years ago. So over that 51-year period, they were only not performing for 3 years. So they've been out there performing pretty consistently for 48 years, just with a couple of little short breaks in there. So they have a pretty impressive track record. All right. Now, I should say that this is not one of the more famous bands that we've done. I don't want to make it sound like they're not famous. The song we're doing today by them was extremely famous. So anyone that likes rock music, because that's what their genre is basically rock music. Anyone that likes rock music, they will know who Steppenwolf is, and they will know the song Born to Be Wild. It's very famous. Okay, so let's talk about that song. But as I said, they're not the most famous band. This is one of their only really famous songs. They have a couple others that were pretty famous. This is one of their only ones, which is why I say they're not as famous of a band. They're still, their name is well known because everyone knows this song. But as far as if you're talking about The Who, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, the Eagles, no. This is a big step below that. Okay, so again, let's discuss the song. It's Born to Be Wild. Now, it became really popular because it was used in a movie. This is something I definitely should have put in my notes, and I did not. I believe it was the movie Easy Rider. I don't remember that exactly. I could be incorrect about that. But you can look that up. What movie was Born to be Wild in? I believe it's Easy Rider. And it's an interesting song for a couple of reasons. First of all, it was on their debut album, their first album. We've seen that a lot. I mentioned that in I think our last episode. We've missed a couple of weeks because your host was sick. But so it might have been 2 or 3 episodes ago. I don't quite remember. But we've talked about that before, that for some reason, a lot of these bands have their biggest hit on their very first album. You can kind of understand maybe you lose some of the creativity because you have to keep making more music. So you may lose the creativity over time. But still, the number of bands that have their number one hit on their very first album is amazing. I already have next week's episode planned out. I can tell you that's not true of them, but the group we're going to do next week. But that seems to be the exception. More times than not, it's the very first album. And that's true here. So this came out on Steppenwolf's first album. And I said there are a couple of interesting things about this song. Well, more than 2. But there's 2 that I find really interesting. One of them is not that it was on their first album. That's not even unique. Like I said, that happens all the time. But one of the interesting things is that a lot of people view this as the first heavy metal song ever. When you listen to it, is it really heavy metal? I don't know that I'd call it heavy metal. I'd just call it rock. It is kind of a hard rock feel. Hard rock is almost like heavy metal. It's close. It's kind of like in between. Because this is a pretty heavy, fast song. I'm not sure I'd call it heavy metal. But certainly for the time, remember they formed in 1967, so their first album is shortly after that. So for that time, there were not many people doing anything like heavy metal back then. Now, there are some other songs that came out similar times where some people might say, well, that's really the first heavy metal song, like Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple, which we've done on this program before. I'm not sure which came out first. I'm actually not sure about that. I don't have my notes on Smoke on the Water here. I don't know when it came out, but it would have been probably around this same time. I want to say it came out a little bit later, so Born to be Wild would be earlier. But it's possible that some people don't consider this a heavy metal song, Born to be Wild, whereas they do consider Smoke on the Water a heavy metal song. So that may be why some people think that's the first heavy metal song. But anyway, some people consider Born to be Wild to be the very first heavy metal song. So that's an interesting thing about it. It's especially interesting because that's not how it was written. It was actually written as a slow ballad, a nice soft song. When you listen to it, you're going to think to yourself, how was that ever a slow song? It's a very powerful, strong song. That's how it was written. It was written to be a ballad, a slow, quiet, calm song. And they decided to speed it up and turned it into a heavy metal song. All right, the other interesting thing I think about this song is that, and it might be because of the way it was used in the movie, but it became really an anthem. It became this anthem song for motorcycle riders. And what's interesting is there's nothing in here about riding a motorcycle. It does talk about driving on a talking about driving a car, though. There's nothing in here about motorcycles. Now, it is the theme of the song is to talk about kind of just living your life, having a good time, doing everything you can do in your life. You can kind of see that with a motorcycle rider. So you could see why the motorcycle riders might associate themselves with the song. And so they hear the song about driving on the highway and the theme of the song going with that. You can see why they would pick that up. But it is still a little bit interesting because technically, the song has nothing to do with that. It's not about riding motorcycles. Okay, so Born to be Wild. Let's get on to the song. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, as you well know, we cannot embed the video, so we will give you a link in the upper right corner that you can click on to jump to the video. And the video I've actually selected for this is actually out of the movie. And again, I think it's the movie Easy Rider. I could be wrong about that. I believe it's Easy Rider. There's a different official video, but I thought that one was better. Because it shows the whole motorcycle theme in there. So you can click on that video, and then once the video's over, just jump back to here for the second part of our program. And for those of you who are listening through streaming or on the radio, you'll be fine. We're just going to embed this. We are allowed to play songs, so we're just going to embed the song right here. All right, let's get to the song.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Welcome back, and that was Born to be Wild by Steppenwolf. All right, that's just really a song about living life to the fullest. And you heard right there at the beginning of the song, get your motor running, head out on the highway. All right, get your motor running. Could be a car. Nothing in there about a motorcycle. It's probably a fun car, maybe a convertible, maybe a sports car, because they're talking about excitement and adventure and things like that, and living your life and having fun. So probably a fun car, probably driving fast, probably too fast, probably faster than you should be driving, but probably driving fast, but it could just be a car. Nothing here about a motorcycle. So get your motor running, head out on the highway. When we say head out somewhere, it just means to go there. I know, this is your head out. To head somewhere, head is also a verb. It means to go somewhere. So head out on the highway just means get to the highway. So go driving on the highway. So in other words, we're probably going to go far because this came out in in the late 1960s. In America, they only just built all their highways really in the 1950s. So this was a 10 years old concept, I guess. So it wasn't a new idea, but still kind of a new idea to go traveling on the highway. So it was kind of exciting. Big highways, straight roads. You can drive faster, so you can go further in a short amount of time. Okay, so get your motor running, head out on the highway. Looking for adventure in whatever comes our way. Okay, when we talk about something coming your way, it means something happening to you. Something good could come your way. Something bad could come your way. A lot of times, I would say more often than not, we use that saying positively. So you might say, for example, if you win the lottery, that, oh, good luck came my way. Now, you could say bad luck came your way if something bad happens. That's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just means something happening to you. But more often we use it positively. So looking for adventure in whatever comes your way. Yeah, darling, gonna make it happen. Take the world in a love embrace. Take the world in a love embrace? Or what does that mean? All right, this is really simple. Says, yeah, darling, gonna make it happen. Okay, darling, that's just a cute word to refer to your girlfriend or boyfriend. In this case, it's probably going to be his girlfriend. And it's not even really so much talking about the girl. So, just who he's talking to. There's nothing really in here about the girl. So that word is kind of just in there to make the song work, kind of. Gonna make it happen. In other words, yeah, he's gonna do this. He's gonna get out on the highway looking for adventure. He's gonna do this. And take the world in a love embrace. What does that mean? Okay, first of all, embrace. That might be a tricky vocabulary word for some of you. You may not know that. It just means to hug. To hug. So you're gonna hug the world? It just means going out there and just seeing what's out there and just loving it, loving every minute of it. So that's all it means. Loving the nature, loving the different people you meet, loving everything about it. It's going out there and having fun, enjoying the world. Fire all of your guns at once and explode into space. All right, so this one's weird. Firing your guns, exploding into space? What the heck are we talking about here? Okay. This is all just metaphor. What a metaphor is when you say something that doesn't mean what it says. Obviously, we're not firing all of our guns at once. When you take your shot at something, it means you're trying to do something. Taking a shot, like firing a gun. Fire all your guns at once. In other words, try everything. All at the same time. Go again, it's all about living life. Have fun. Go, do it. And explode into space. This song came out right when everyone was interested in space because the U.S. was putting a man on the moon. I believe, I should know. As an American, I should know what year that was. But sorry, I don't remember the exact year. It was right around the time this song came out, though. Was when we put a man on the moon. So space was a big deal. So explode into space. That, again, it just means having fun, doing something exciting, exploding into space, like a rocket ship going up in space. Okay, so then we move on with the song. I like smoke and lightning, heavy metal thunder. I like smoke and lightning. Okay. That's, again, a metaphor. And we're just really, once again, talking about kind of excitement. Smoke and lightning. Lightning, lightning comes down. And smoke, I'm not sure why the smoke is so exciting, but okay. Lightning, fire, kind of similar. So, again, sometimes, I've told you before in past times, sometimes it's a little hard to understand exactly what they're trying to say with something. Not sure why you like smoke. But okay, goes along. But the lightning, definitely. Again, lightning, it's just a metaphor for excitement. Okay, heavy metal thunder. Now, that one is an interesting one. The reason it's interesting is because you have the thunder after the lightning. That's fine. Okay, so again, metaphor, excitement, same thing. Same thing. This whole song is about the same thing. It's about enjoying life, having excitement, doing fun things, getting adventure. What's weird about this line is, remember what I told you in part 1? Some people say that this is the first heavy metal song. Well, if this is the first heavy metal song, then the phrase heavy metal probably didn't exist. Now, I mean, there is a phrase for heavy metal because there are metals that are called heavy metals. That doesn't really make sense here with heavy metal thunder. So it's not clear what he means there. That term should not have existed at the time of this song as a reference to music. I mean, it certainly works well. You know? Heavy metal thunder. It's a good phrase for the music. I'm not sure he was referring to the music. Unless they just made up the term right there for it. Okay? So we'll just continue on. I can't really explain that one too well. Heavy metal thunder. Okay, racing with the wind and the feeling that I'm under. Okay, racing with the wind. When you say you're racing with the wind, it just means you're moving fast. I don't know why. The wind is usually not that fast. If you're driving down the highway, you're probably going faster than the wind. Unless it's really, really windy out. But racing with the wind means you're going fast. And the feeling that I'm under. So again, it's about being excited. So he's going fast. He's excited. The feeling that he's under is a feeling of excitement. When it says the feeling I'm under, it just means the feeling that he has. Okay, and then we repeat it's kind of the chorus there. Yeah, darling, gonna make it happen. Take the world in love embrace. Fire all your guns at once and explode into space. Okay? And we have what's really the third and final verse. I don't know if you'd even call these verses, but we go back to the beginning after this. Okay? But this really isn't another verse. This is maybe more of a bridge. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what you'd call it in this arrangement. We don't have a lot of verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus here. But this next part might be more like a bridge. It says, like a true nature's child, we were born to be wild. We can climb so high, never want to die. All right, so a nature's child, that doesn't really mean much. It's not a saying that we normally use. But what I think he's talking about, nature's child means, you're born like in the woods or whatever, or you're at least part of nature. You think of nature as being forests and jungles and things, so you're born to be wild, like a wild animal. He means it in a good way. Sometimes you might think a wild animal's a bad thing. Doesn't have good manners, attacks things, might kill people. He doesn't mean it that way. He means it in a good way. He means like, you have the freedom to just go around wherever you want. Like an animal in the wild. They can just roam around. They can do whatever they want. Adventure. So again, about living life, having fun, having adventure. So like a true nature's child, we were born to be wild. We can climb so high. We've seen this before in other songs. Again, kind of a metaphor. You talk about going up a mountain, climbing high. It just means reaching to do things that maybe are challenging. Again, exciting. Once again, the same theme for the whole song here. Never want to die. So that's an important line here. Because when we talk about born to be wild, and some people get careless when they're doing these adventurous things. And honestly, if you were able to get into their brains and psychoanalyze them, a lot of these people really probably don't care very much about their lives. Inside, they might be a little bit depressed or something. So what he's saying is that, this is a true feeling that just never want to die. Just keep it going. Keep all of this excitement going. So this is really about truly enjoying your life. All right, and then we continue on, basically just repeating other lines. Born to be wild, get your motor running, head on the highway, looking for adventure, whatever comes our way. And we get, yeah, darling, gonna make it happen. Take the world in love embrace, fire all your guns at once, explode into space. And then he even repeats the like a true nature's child part. And that's the end of the song. So that is Born to be Wild by Steppenwolf. Fun song. I'm guessing if you like rock music, you enjoyed that song when you listened to it. It's a good song. And the band Steppenwolf, as I said in the first part, does not have a lot of big hits. Probably Magic Carpet Ride is their second biggest hit. That was quite famous. That did very well. But Born to Be Wild is definitely their number one hit. Not even close. Sometimes we can argue about, this person likes that song better than that one or whatever, because we all have our own opinions of music. But just in general, as far as which one was more popular, Born to Be Wild was much more popular than Magic Carpet Ride. But Magic Carpet Ride is probably their second most popular one. They have another song called Rock Me, which is also pretty good. Those are really the only, they have a lot of other songs, and some of them you might actually like a lot. I don't know. Depends on your taste in music. But as far as like real popularity, that's really about it for their big songs. Born to Be Wild, Magic Carpet Ride, and Rock Me. So as I always do, I encourage you to go listen to more of their music, especially if you like this style of song. I think you'll find Magic Carpet Ride to be a little more calm. So go ahead and check it out. Go listen to more of their music. Again, it's Steppenwolf, and let me spell that for you one more time. Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf. All right. So that's it for that song, Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf. Thank you for joining us for today's Musical Musings program. Please stay with us and make sure you tune back in next week for another great song. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Musical.